So far, we have discussed what arguments are and various functions of argument. Today, we will see the broad classification of argumentation. Arguments are broadly classified into two types, depending upon the way the reason in the argument work. First group are called demonstrative reasoning. The second are called non-demonstrative reasoning. These are also called as deductive reasoning as well as inductive reasoning. Better put, deductive reasoning as well as non-deductive reasoning. Let's take an example. Consider the age-old, maybe boring, but quite simple arguments. All humans are mortal. Socrates is a man. Socrates is not mortal. This is a classic case of a deductive argument. In this particular case, the conclusion is always ensured by the premises. In other words, the truth of the conclusion is always ensured by the premises. There is no way in which the premises are true and the conclusion is false in this particular case. If all men are mortal and Socrates is a man, then Socrates is mortal. So this is a good argument. And this argument gives us conclusive certainty for its conclusion. However, we attain the conclusive certainty of the conclusion with a caveat, because we don't get anything novel or new in the conclusion. Whatever we have concluded is already available in the premises. Therefore, this kind of reasoning are also called monotonous logic, and this kind of reasoning is also called non-ampliative, because there is no ampliation or addition of information in the conclusion. Whatever is available on the premises are in a way reiterated in the conclusion. Is there no novelty in the conclusion? That's a different question to ponder over, because the question of novelty has various aspects that we don't look into this course. But this is the nutshell of a deductive argument. In a deductive argument, it is impossible to have more information in the conclusion that is not already present in the premise. If there is, then that is not a good deductive argument. In contrast to this, we have non-deductive arguments. And non-deductive arguments are fun because they help us include more information in the conclusion. Consider the following example. All the crows I have seen so far are black. You all know about the common crows, the black Indian birds that fly around. So all the crows I have seen so far are black. Therefore, all crows are black. Now, in this particular case, my premise says that all the crows I have seen so far are black. But my conclusion talks about all crows in the world. So my conclusion has more information content than that is available in the premises. These types of arguments are called non-deductive arguments. We also call them inductive arguments. So we use inductive arguments everywhere. Whenever we generalize from something, all generalization from particular cases to the universal is an induction. When we infer something from analogy, we use induction. And in all these cases, we get often we get more information to the conclusion than that is available on the premises. But there is a problem. The problem is that it is riskful. There is a risk of going astray even when we have true premises. For instance, all the crows I have seen so far are in fact black, but that does not guarantee that all the crows in the world are black. There may be a crow that I haven't seen. And this happened to Europeans when they believed that all swans are black, because in some part of Europe there are only black swans. But later they realized that in Australia there are white swans, so all swans are not black. However, those part of Europe where people have seen only black ravens or black swans, the premise all ravens we have seen are black is absolutely correct, because there are no white ravens around or swans around. So there is a risk involved in inductive reasoning, but however, only inductive reasoning helps us get to interesting conclusions that have more information content than that is available on the premises. So, to summarize, there are two types of arguments, deductive and non-deductive, or demonstrative and non-demonstrative. Demonstrative arguments give us certainty, but we can't have more information to the conclusion in that particular cases. Non-demonstrative reasoning, on the other hand, give us a way to go beyond what is available on the premises. However, that comes with a caveat that even when all the premises are true, in a non-demonstrative reasoning or inductive reasoning, it is possible that we would go astray, or our conclusion could be wrong. In other words, a non-deductive argument or inductive argument can only give us probability of the conclusion.